everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of Checkpoint Chat. We're recording on a Friday today because long weekend.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Goodness.
That's the sound of me starting the stopwatch because I forgot to do it before.
How rude. How rude. Hi, Matty. How you doing?
Good in you. How's it going? How did you get home this morning?
I went on my phone and I opened up this app and I said, order Uber. And then you arrived. So I was like, shit,
yeah,
that's
bro,
confusing.
It's my side gig. Didn't you know?
Maddie's side gig is an Uber driver. No, Maddie was gracious enough to give me a lift home.
I was. And then you climbed to my car with an Xbox. And I was just...
Maddie's just like, get this trash out of my car.
I was like, why? And yeah, Uber cancelled.
How damn rude. My goodness.
But it's Friday. I'm so chuffed because it's been a long week.
I'm just so chuffed to get to watch Avengers later.
I'm not watching Avengers later, so I'm jealous. I have to stay off Twitter because that's so mean.
I'm just gonna spoil it next time we record on the podcast.
So next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday. If you haven't watched it by then.
Oh shit! Yeah, wait. I should have watched it by then, so we'll be fine. We'll be good. I'll see you've got your Red Bull. Please don't spill it. And you got a vape this time. You prepared to podcasts.
Yeah,
we get it, bro. That you vape. It's okay.
Yeah, it's been a long week. It's I think we both sound very tired. Yeah, I don't know. I think this long weekend's come at the perfect time. It's
very necessary.
It's like the quarter of the year's passed. You need that tiny little holiday.
Have you looked to the future of public holidays?
There's like hardly any coming up.
We have none until I think it's September.
Great. Awesome.
So we're in for winter now. Winter's here, basically.
I hate winter so much as well. Like winter's... With cold weather.
I don't mind winter. I just hate the before time when there's no comfortable temperature. You either hot or cold. So you spend all day putting a hoodie on and off, and then that's how sickness happens. But I'm recovered, I think. I'm
glad that you're recovered. That's good.
Although I'm sure I still sound nasally. Am I right?
I mean, apparently you always sound nasally, so... Yeah,
I don't know why I take such offense to that. I'm like, I'm not nasally. Like, it's the worst thing, but it's, yeah, what does it really matter?
I'm nasally. It's not a huge deal, I don't think. I mean, you still sound pretty suave and you've got some good bass to your voice. Every time I look at the soundboard, I'm like, I should actually just put Maddie back to like normal bass and not amplify his because he really doesn't need it.
I'll bring the bass, bro. Don't turn my bass down.
I'll turn it right up. It'd just be like a booming
and everyone will take their shirts off. Like, why am I doing this?
So this week, because of being so busy, I actually haven't got to play anything besides a pocket of hours of God of War. So you're on duty.
I'm driving the ship, but you climbed into my car with an Xbox. Is that just for show?
No, I was so there's this thing on Xbox where it shows you all the games that you need that have like available updates, whatever. So then I'm like, cool, I'm feeling like I want to play Assassin's Creed Origins again because I just finished God of War and it's got kind of like similar combat and, I just want to play the game.
Yeah.
And so I'm updating it and it's not a big update, but then something goes wrong and it like stalls. Like, where you have internet, but it's just being like, no, you have no internet, whatever. So I try and restart the download. And the only way I can see to do that is to clear my download queue. So I clear the download queue and a message pops up, a warning, which I didn't read. Should have read it.
As one should. When pop up
so apparently clearing your download queue, even though if you're just downloading an update, the Xbox, what it does is just delete the game.
What?
Yeah. So that's what the pop-up is. The pop-up, I actually went back and looked at it. It's not as clear-cut as people... Because people on Twitter are like, yeah, didn't you read the warning? So I went back and read it, and it's like, it may or may not delete your game. I'm like, why does it do it in the first place?
Yeah, so whether there's a warning or not... Why is it deleting your game?
Why when you delete an update does it delete the game automatically? So that's why I took my Xbox to work so I could re-download Assassin's Creed because it's the end of the month and my internet's pretty throttled at the moment.
So you didn't take your Xbox to work because you needed a particularly expensive paperweight.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Please don't shoot me, Xbox fans.
My goodness. Never getting sponsorships from Microsoft.
Xbox controller's the best. I'm just going to throw that in there.
You used to play The Witcher?
I did. which, speaking of which, yes, what a segue. You're such a professional.
I know, I'm so good, hey?
So on the drive over, I was telling you, I finally finished The Witcher.
Jesus, thank God.
I know people listening are probably like, oh my God, more Witcher? Yes, just one more time because I finally finished the game. And I am equal parts happy and equal parts sad. So happy for the obvious reason that The Witcher is a phenomenal RPG, and equal parts sad because I really wanted to play more of it. And I mean, yeah, there are the expansions, but I'll never experience The Witcher, The Witcher 3 again in its for the first time ever again. Geez, like I struggle through that. My English isn't happening today. But I finally finished it, and I'm really chuffed with my ending.
Yeah.
We were chatting in the car.
You got a pretty good ending.
Tell us, okay, so for people like Craig who've never played the game, you might want to steer away because I think we are just going to talk about the game and its entirety.
I guess we've spoken about The Witcher now twice. So, and I mean, we segment this podcast pretty well. So if you don't want to listen to any Witcher stuff, this will be our spoiler cast.
Yeah, so skip
in a
ahead.
sense.
Craig,
The time now is 6:36. So we'll put it in the show notes. I'll put it this way. In the show notes, I'll be like, listen from here to here for Witcher spoilers. Everything else is 100%
that's your responsibility. I'll wash my hands of this.
I mean, we're letting people know well ahead of time. So
yeah, okay. So tell me
Witcher
about
spoilers.
Yeah. So tell me about your ending.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, I played this game
3 years ago.
3 years ago. I do remember getting an ending that was not that good in terms of like morality. If I remember correctly, Ciri left me. She disagreed with Geralt on something. I don't know if it had something to do with the side quest I did or something. And then she ended up dying, if I remember correctly.
She does.
Because you read all the alternate endings. Yeah, she ends up dying. And I was like, I think Geralt then also ends up dying of just like old age and regrets or something.
No, so just to fill you in, I think when I read up yesterday, Geralt ends up going to... So if you recall that fight with the old crones, I don't know,
yes.
you end up fighting them and then one actually escapes. Although when you fight
this
them...
is after we sacrifice the horse to the tree.
Yeah, no, this is long after. So you actually get to go fight them with Ciri or Geralt, if I understand correctly.
Okay.
Depending on that quest. So I fought them with Ciri, and you kill the two of them, and the one actually escapes, and she grabs Ciri's necklace.
Oh, okay.
And she flees. So in the bad ending, Ciri dies, and then Geralt goes and hunts down the last remaining crone
old hag
for the necklace, and then it's implied that I haven't seen any videos, but it's implied that he ends up being surrounded by monsters, and he's grief stricken because Ciri's gone, and then like credits roll. So you don't actually know if he does die. But yeah, so that's like the bad ending which you got.
Yeah, I think that's what I got. And like I said, I can't remember what side quests led me to that point because I thought I was pretty good.
There are a whole lot of factors that are taken into account that lead you there. So it's not
again,
one single
which is
decision.
pretty cool about The Witcher is that it's all very grey. It's not like I can't distinctly remember a point where I was like, yeah, because I made this decision, I got the bad ending.
Yeah. No, I mean, I read up after there are, I think, 8 or 9 points in the game where you make decisions, and then, so it's like if you make 4 positive ones, in inverted commas, then you get like this ending. If you make a handful of these and those, then you get the, suppose, which is still a good ending. And if you make these, then you get the bad ending. So you made those bad decisions, if you want to call them that. Although they're not really. I mean, you never know. It's
yeah. The Witch is very good at painting things in shades of grey and not so black and white. So yeah, that's part of why I appreciate its story. It's that it is very morally ambiguous and stuff like that. So I do remember the final fight being a bit like, put it this way, the core story that I was engrossed with in The Witcher was that of Geralt and Ciri and Geralt finding Yennefer again. I wasn't so enthralled by the Wild Hunt and their kind of plight.
Yeah, it's very weird because I mean the game is called The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt, and you think like, yeah, the majority of the narrative, well, not even the majority of the narrative hinges on them. It's focused on Ciri, but although she is implicated by the Wild Hunt.
Yeah, because they're hunting her, aren't they?
Yeah, they're hunting her, but it's like they're just this almost faceless entity that you see every now and then and whatever, but you never really worry about them until toward the end of the game, I guess, when it's like, cool, you found Ciri now, but the Wild Hunts are still after her and they're going to be after her for eternity. Now let's kill them.
Yeah.
But it's like, meh, I wasn't really, I don't know if I could say moved or felt threatened by them. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we have to kill them. And yeah.
That's kind of exactly how I felt. I never felt like they were a like a present force or a present antagonist.
They just pop up, when it's convenient almost. And even then it's like 2 or 3 times in the whole game that you actually see them. And then the last fight is,
it's okay.
It's this big bad boss fight, but it's
in some nice icy.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah. It looks nice. I mean, whenever the Wild Hunt appears in the game, it is interesting because of just the kind of like destruction they leave. Like, I think the first time you see them, it's when they've come hunting in that city for Ciri, and like everyone's frozen and like everyone's dead in the city, and there's just ice everywhere, and like it's very striking and very cool. But as a wrap up on a story that started with the first game, because the Wild Hunt are essentially the ones who came for Yennefer the first time. Like it just felt a bit anticlimactic in that sense, like fighting them and even though they each had these like different members in the Wild Hunt which were unique and cool, it wasn't their story.
I don't even remember.
They were like window dressing in a sense.
Yeah, I don't even remember their names or whatever. I just remember, it's a big armored dude
or something like that.
I don't even remember. But yeah, the main enjoyment of the game for me really came from that whole journey, looking for Ciri, then toward the end of the game finding her, and then just wrapping things up, which led me to my good ending.
Yes, tell me about your ending.
So I'm very chuffed with how things turned out for me, because although the game is very ambiguous, I still feel inadvertently that I made the right choices.
Okay.
So when all my, at the end of the game when the credits roll, it says, like, here's what happened to this person, here's what happened to this well, not on that level, but here's what happened to this city, and then here's what happened to the whole region or whatever. And I'm quite pleased with how things turned out for me. So at the end of my game, it's almost implied that Ciri dies, and I was very sad because I actually thought she did die. Geralt goes to the Emperor, what's his name? Emperor?
I can't remember a lot of these names. So
Emperor something. So Ciri's father, essentially, who at the beginning of the game sent you to find her in the first place.
Yeah.
And he tells her that she's dead.
Yes, he kind of lies to her in a sense.
Yeah.
Well, in my game, I had no idea.
Yeah, no. So he says that she's dead, and I was like, oh god, because she actually died, because this is 2 weeks after that whole
Maddie, what have
thing
you done to Ciri?
where she's like, she has, it's her destiny to stop the Great Frost or whatever.
The Great Winter,
whatever it was called, I don't remember. But then Geralt goes to the inn, and lo and behold, Ciri survived, and she faked her own death in a sense, I guess, so that her father doesn't keep hunting her, and she becomes a witcher. Geralt gives her a sword, and he officially dubs her like a witcher, and
cool.
That's what they do. But my ending, because I chose Yennefer, it just says that Geralt and Yennefer basically live happily ever after. They lead a secluded life, minus all the politics and whatever, and then Ciri goes off and does her own adventuring.
What happens to Triss in that?
I'm not sure. It doesn't actually say.
Because I know there's a side quest where you save a lot of mages in a city. Does she leave with them?
No, so she does leave with them. So that side quest I did. So you chose her. You told her to stay with you.
Yes.
Okay. So in my story, she left, but she does come back to help you find Ciri and fight the Wild Hunt.
Okay. But then she doesn't stay after that.
Yeah, it doesn't actually. I don't recall being told what happens to her in this particular ending. But I know if you do choose her in the story, you end up with her. She becomes an advisor to some. I don't know if it's the same emperor, and then Geralt and her just lead a fancy life in the city.
Okay.
And Geralt takes the odd witcher contract.
See, I was also really bad because I chose her and Yennefer. So they
you got the worst possible endings, actually, because in that ending I read Geralt is seen wandering the road, I think, and like reminiscing about the times it could have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because essentially what happens is they just tie him to a bed and you're like, oh yeah, threesome time's happening, and they just leave you there.
And yeah, so you got the worst ending.
Yeah, I chose, I mean, it's tough to choose between Ciri and Triss because I think I have this attachment to Triss because
From
of the second game.
yeah.
Yeah, the second game, she is like your main romantic interest and she's awesome in the second game. And then third game comes along and there's just fucking Yennefer just screwing everything up. But
Yeah.
Yennefer's also kind of cool as well. So,
But yeah, I think, I mean, let's not forget that when it came to making that decision with Triss, I was in between. I was like, I don't want to tell her I love her, but I was like, don't leave me. But she still leaves you because you don't tell her that you love her. But at the back of my mind, because of my entry point in the series is The Witcher 3, you start out the game looking for Yennefer, and it's implied that she's your long lost love and she's always been your love interest. So I was like, well, that sort of makes sense.
yeah, I mean that's what the entire series is based on is
Their love story.
Geralt, you know, finding the love of his life again, which is Yennefer.
I leaned that way because, I mean, I hadn't played the second game and it seemed like the natural choice, although there's no natural choice in this game, I guess. But yeah, my ending, a lot of people, so I put out a tweet yesterday saying I'd played 75 hours and I was going to round off the game. And some people replied saying like, why are you finishing it so soon? And I'm like, 75 hours is a lot of, I know you can play The Witcher for 100, 200, 300 hours, whatever, but like, I can't commit to that. I mean, it took me 2 to 3 months just to play 75 hours.
Yeah, no.
I could play it for the rest of the year if I'm going to play every single side thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think 75 hours is a very long time. And
I did and I saw a lot. So,
yeah, exactly. 75 hours is a lot. I think it's more than I ever spent with the game. But I am, like I was telling you on our way here, your kind of journey and discussions into it have really tempted me to pick it up again, more so than I've ever kind of felt. But yeah, I mean, I also haven't played the expansions as well, so that's something I want to get to.
I've got those to look forward to, but I'm not going to start them now because I do not want to burn out in the franchise. It's got a special place in my gaming heart now, and I don't want to ruin that by just doing too much, you know. But that being said, I played 75 hours, and I think I'm quite happy with the level of side quests I did, because based on the endings I got, it seems like I actually touched on a lot of the possible little ending bits.
Yeah.
So, and for the most part, I think I did really well. Like, again, this is a gray area game, but these are the sort of decisions I made, and the results were, I was like, cool, I'm very happy with how things turned out. So things like, I don't know if you remember, I mean, you might not have, because I don't know to what extent you did side quests, but like Temeria, you might remember the character Dijkstra.
Yes, yeah.
So
the criminal.
Yeah, the criminal underlord. You get him, and then you've got Radovid, who's the king of the North, or that.
The king of the North.
The king of the North. So I did the side quest where you help Dijkstra assassinate Radovid.
Yes.
Okay, but then
I think I did the same.
So you might have done that side quest, but then you might know this character because he was prominent in the second game, I believe. Roche.
Yeah, Roche. Yeah, very big.
So yeah, in Witcher 3, he's busy like doing guerrilla warfare, trying to make peace, I guess. He helps you assassinate Radovid, and they're all like, cool, we're going to free Temeria. And then Dijkstra's like, actually, I'm going to step in. He basically wants to become the leader of the North. That's why he assassinated Radovid, and so I ended up killing him, which led me to the ending that I think Nilfgaard, I don't remember if they end up taking over the North, but in my ending, Temeria gets the independence, essentially, which I thought was cool because, you know, my ending, it's not like one side or the other one. It's like they both got something. I'm like, that's fine with me, you know. I don't think either of them are right.
I think you get like, if you play the second game, which I still think you should at some point, you get a lot of context for that sort of thing, because in the second game, Geralt is still suffering from amnesia and he's still trying to recollect his memories. So most of it is concerned with the politics of the land. The crux of the second game is Geralt hunting down someone who's assassinated a king that you were...
you're accused of assassinating.
Yeah, which then Geralt is accused of assassinating. And that's why it's called Assassin of Kings, or whatever.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, Witcher. So yeah, you get to meet Roche, and you get a lot of this context with the the Nilfgaard and Temeria, and it feeds into a lot in the third one, but it's not, like I said, it's not super important.
No.
Like, you got enough from that. You got enough context. I am very interested to see what would happen, because it never worked the first time I tried it. I played Witcher 2 on PC, and I tried to bring my save over to the third one, because there's a lot of decisions you make in the second one that will directly impact things. And I'm interested to see, like, there's a decision within the first third of The Witcher 3 which would greatly impact your relationship with Roche.
What is that?
And I'd love... Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, because you'll eventually get to the game.
Oh, in the second one.
Yeah,
okay,
in the second one, yeah. And, like, I'd love to know how that feeds through into the third game, put it that way. So, yeah, I don't know. This game is really good at crafting its stories, and... Yeah, it's just good.
Yeah, it's great.
What are you? How are you going to fill this void now?
Shit, I don't know.
God of War.
Yeah, I need to get God of War still.
It's interesting that you've chosen to finish it now, because a lot of people I've seen who are finishing God of War now, they say this is like on par to the experience of playing The Witcher 3 for the first time.
Oh, yeah. So
you're going from one of the best games this generation to one of the next best games of this generation.
Which will lead me to Cyberpunk at E3. Hopefully it's revealed, and then I'm ready for that.
Just in your last year, you've played Breath of the Wild, now The Witcher 3, and now God of War. 3 of the best games this gen, I think.
Yeah, I'll get to God of War, definitely. I think I've committed. I'm just going to buy it.
We just bought plastic toys this week, so...
more so those Breath of the Wild amiibos came back in stock, and it's actually funny because I saw them. I literally saw the email. I didn't even think twice, because I know how quick they sell out, and I bought them. And like almost literally as I got my order form confirmed, you messaged me saying, "Hey, just so you know, these amiibo are on sale." And I sent you a photo like, "Hey, I already bought them."
Yeah.
Which throws us.
I was waiting for a message like "fuck you,"
which is normally what you would get. But these are amiibo that I actually want, because I mean, I've got the champion amiibo now, which I grabbed in December, and Breath of the Wild is definitely one of my favorite games.
So then, which ones are you missing? The Bokoblin?
Yeah, but I'm not going to buy the Bokoblin.
And the Archer Link.
Nah. Link on a horse is better to me. I'm not going to have two Links.
Who cares about Epona?
Epony.
Yeah, fuck that. Okay, so should we call Witcher spoilers done? Because we're at 23 minutes now.
Wait, before we finish. No, I'm kidding. Let's go. I'm done with Witcher. You'll never hear about it again until I play the expansion. It might come up in conversation, but I'm done.
If you played the expansions before me, I'm going to have to adhere to spoilers. Like, geez. Because apparently Blood and Wine is really good.
Yeah, I've heard Hearts of Stone is good, but Blood and Wine is
Blood and Wine is it feels like a whole new game, apparently. So
yeah. And it popped up in my core Witcher 3 game briefly, because obviously they're DLC and they feature in the same... the starting quests pop up in the sort of same region, and I accidentally stumbled upon like the launch quest for that, so I know more or less what the premise is.
Because you've actually bought the expansion.
Yeah, so
that's why I was like, that's weird if you haven't bought them.
Yeah, I was walking through the one village, and it wasn't even a choice. It's like a cinematic happens, and then you do this quest, and I was like, okay, bye, like I'm going back to The Witcher 3 now. So
it's quite interesting. There's a character in Hearts of Stone called Shani. So that's...
You're going to save her,
first game. Yeah, I've got to save her.
Oh, she's from the first game?
Yeah, Sean. I think she's from the first game, yeah. She's a medic, I think.
Dating this bozo called Alessandro Barbosa in The Witcher lore.
And then all of a sudden this dude called Geralt comes and she leaves me for Geralt.
Oh, no. This is your life. We're playing your life.
It's horrible. This is terrible.
Yeah, so that's The Witcher.
Awesome.
Done and dusted. Loved the game.
Awesome.
I'd give it 9 5-stars out of... No, I don't know.
9 5-stars out of 10
If I had to
5
score
stars.
it, if I had to go the traditional review route, I think I would give it probably a 9 or 9.5 out of 10.
I think if I recall, I gave it 9.5.
3 years later, it lived up to exactly.
And that's kind of the amazing thing is you've played it after open world triumphs like Breath of the Wild. You know, Breath of the Wild redefined what an open world game is to me, and you still went back to The Witcher and were like, this is still really good.
I still enjoyed it. I mean
3 years is not a long time for something to age, but it sticks up to it, you know.
I mean, there are certain things I tweak about The Witcher, like combat I think could be a little bit better. Still enjoyed it, but I do see, like we've spoken about this at length now, how after dozens of hours it's not that great.
Yeah, it's a bit rote,
it becomes pretty standard.
Is the Bloody Baron conclusion still one of your favorite parts of the game?
I think looking back now, it's probably one of the most impactful, because at that point of the game, it's you really see like, shit, I made this decision which led to this decision which led. Whereas by the end of the game, it's sort of drawn out, longer. It's like, oh, you made this decision back there, and you only see it come into effect now. But even then, it's not like, wow, holy shit, like this person killed themselves or whatever, like the Bloody Baron did. But yeah, that's probably one of my highlights of the game.
Cool.
So, yeah. Okay. We're done with The Witcher.
Yeah, we're done with The Witcher. Okay, it's actually 26 minutes now.
Okay.
I lied.
On my stopwatch, it's 25:30. Please learn to tell time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, right. Never mind. Fuck.
It's Friday.
Yeah,
it's
it's Friday. So, like I said, I haven't really played much this week. I am about to start a game called Frostpunk.
Do you want to talk about that, or should we just yodel for the rest of the podcast?
Yodeling sounds like effort. Like
Let's
a lot
not.
of effort. My
Tell us
goodness.
about your game, Frostpunk.
Yeah, so I started seeing Frostpunk a bit during the week, mainly because a good friend of ours, Garth, is playing it.
Oh, the Wookiee.
And,
give me your best Wookiee impersonation.
That was a lot better than mine.
I'm done. Carry on.
So Frostpunk is made by the guys who made this War of Mine, which, if you played it, is full of
I haven't played it, but I know exactly
decisions.
what it is,
yeah, it's all about like
saving the children.
Yeah, saving the children, just trying to survive, but not everyone can be saved, and you making hard decisions about who lives and who dies. So they kind of let that bleed into Frostpunk, which is a very, from what I can tell, it's a sort of, it's like a city builder, but it's not a city builder in the same vein as like SimCity or City Skylines or stuff like that. It's more of an aesthetic than anything else. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the city to survive through this really, really harsh winter.
Oh boy.
So you'll have survivors that come to your city seeking shelter, and you have to decide, do you want to let them in? Do you have enough food to let them in, or do you want to let them in and put them to work in coal mines to generate heat? Because if the temperature drops too low, your citizens start dying and stuff like that.
Sure.
And on the surface level, that's what it's about. It's about making these hardcore decisions. I know Garth has had a few interesting tweets where he tried to be really good to everyone. So he let in a lot of refugees.
I saw that tweet actually.
Yeah, and then he ran out of medical supplies or something, so people started dying. Yeah. And when people started dying and they started piling up on the streets, people lost hope, so they just evicted him from the city, and he died in the ice.
And one of the other tweets I saw, he didn't let the children work because you don't want child labor, but then it affected him because like there wasn't enough labor happening, and then the children are just like not doing anything.
You got to get the children in those coal mines.
Oh man, she's like, yeah. Gaming's great, isn't it? It makes you experience all
fun.
These scenarios that like wrench your heart and stress you out. But hey,
yeah, that's essentially what Frostpunk is like. As far as I can tell, you get scenarios. So like you'll play a scenario and it will tune the game specifically. Like, hey, you need to take control of the city where temperature is really low already, or something like that.
Okay.
Like, but every time I hear about it, it just reminds me of. Did you ever play? What's the?
I never played that game.
Reigns,
no.
on
smartphone.
So Reigns.
We've spoken about this.
Yeah,
where you
the like
left
Tinder.
or right.
Yeah. The like Kingdom simulator where it's like Tinder. You swipe left or right for decisions, and it's kind of the same thing. You have 4 bars pertaining to like the army and wealth and religion and people, and you can't let one get too high or too low. So it's a balancing game. Yeah. So Frostpunk feels like a lot of that, just a bit more complex.
Less swiping, more actually doing stuff.
Less swiping, more kids in coal mines.
Oh no. I should put that on the box.
Yeah. But it's got a really cool aesthetic. It's like very cold. It reminds me a lot of Lost Planet back in the day, because you can see kind of like the heat spots on your city and see, the overall temperature. And it looks very cold. They've done a good job of emphasizing how fucking cold the place is. So yeah, I'm stoked to get deep into that.
So you reviewing that, or you
Yeah,
just
I'm
playing
reviewing
it
that.
for?
No,
Oh,
I'm
nice.
reviewing that. Yeah,
Nice.
it was one of those cases where I was like, "Man, this looks interesting," and then Jeff is like, "Hey, do you want to review it?" I'm like,
Okay.
"Cool, yeah." Guess no one else is reviewing it, so yeah.
Can't
I'll
wait to
I'll
put
do
the
that.
children in the mines.
Yeah, can't wait to put the children in the mines. That's
I'd be thrown out my own city for putting children in the mines.
Oh my god!
Yeah, this game. It sounds.
I give this game 9 stars out of child labor.
Oh no. Welcome to the
goodness.
child labor podcast.
Oh Jesus, no! Let's not be
Yeah,
known for that.
No, no. Steer clear. Okay, let's erase that part of the podcast.
Yeah. So I'm keen to get into that, and I've been playing pockets of God of War more, but I can't really speak about them because
that's
they
spoilery,
are really in spoilers, and like you haven't played the game, and a lot of people haven't finished the game. But I'm very happy to see a lot of people really enjoying the game.
Yeah, people are loving it. A mate of mine, Adian, I was messaging this morning. He said he's nearly at the end. I was like,
oh, he thinks he's nearly at the end.
I was like, you can't possibly be near the end. How long have you played? He says he's played 30 hours. Like, shit, he's actually played quite a lot.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because I thought he was going to be like, yeah, I played like 15 hours. Like, no, he's played 30. So he's put a good chunk of time to the game, and he's also loving it. And on Twitter, that's all I've seen. I have to steer clear, though, because people put up screenshots. I'm like, oh, no, don't look. It's like not direct spoilers, but then I want to go into that game knowing nothing.
Yeah, it's better going in fresh because like I've already seen people posting pictures of like some of the areas you'll visit and some of the some articles just straight up spoiling what's behind like these doors that are like end level end of game challenges, and like it's not super consequential to the story if you find out that, but I feel like it's a surprise that is well earned by the game itself, and it should remain a surprise.
Yeah. Don't put spoilers out, people.
Yeah. I mean, it's only been a week. So
we waited 3 years before we discussed Witcher 3 spoilers. So
yeah, I mean, yeah.
See, be more like us. We're very thoughtful.
What is interesting to me, and I've been mulling this around as a sort of article for a while, is how some of the best games this generation have been ones that have looked back on their past legacies and just said, what can we do to reinvent this? So like I think the two, like maybe even three principal examples are like Zelda Breath of the Wild, Resident Evil 7, and then God of War.
Yeah,
because like Zelda completely turfed its formula out. Normally it's been a strict like you have 4 dungeons, cool, you still have 4 guardians in this one, but you have to go to this one first so that you can get an item that allows you to go to this one so it's very linear, and not linear but very little wiggle room, you know what I mean? And Ocarina of Time back in like 2001 perfected this formula, and it's been like that since. Like you play Majora's Mask, it spins it a little bit with its time mechanic. You know, you play Wind Waker, it's exactly the same. So Breath of the Wild completely changed how it worked. Like you can go to Ganon from the get-go and just, you know, try and beat him without doing any of the dungeons. You can do one of the dungeons, you can do 3 of them. You can do some of the shrines or none of the shrines, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even the addition of like shrines and these additional puzzles around, and a world that is truly open, that really rewards exploration. It's a completely different game in a sense.
Go
but it's
wherever the hell you want.
Yeah, but it's Nintendo going and looking at what they've done with Zelda and saying, how can we retain this feeling of, you know, there's these tent poles of these dungeons that you need to do, and all of those combine to help you take down Ganon. But how can we change how it feels to do that, you know? And God of War is very much the same. It's like we had this hack and slash character action game, you know, that its combat was not always the best, and
the character was very
angry and one note.
It's the only way to explain it.
But how can we reinvent this? You know, when we first saw God of War, I distinctly remember us getting back to the apartment after the press conference, and I was like, man, it's so interesting how they've kept the thematic of God of War with a new character. And I think it was you or Garth, because Garth was there with us. He's like, that's not a new character, that's Kratos. I was like, oh, I thought they just kept the overall, you know, the white and red look, but they're applying it to a new character because this is a reboot. And turns out God was right, because this is Kratos. This is a sequel to God of War. So they're looking back at the heritage of God of War and saying, how can we reinvent or rejiggle Kratos to be an interesting character while also making mention of what came before. Yeah. God of War does a really good job of that. It doesn't forget its Greek mythology. It doesn't forget its past games. It
spins it really well.
It spins it really well, and it acknowledges it in a meaningful sense. Like one of its most pivotal moments is literally it. This is why I say it's probably good to have some sort of background, because one of its biggest emotional story moments has to do with past games, and if you've never played them, you'll understand them, but the emotional impact will completely fly over you. So and like Resident Evil is kind of the same thing.
That went straight back to its roots, but it like completely respun it. I mean, and you think something as simple as going from a fixed camera, third person, whatever perspective, to first person is like almost like, I want to say an obvious move, or a natural move, but geez, like they completely reinvented that franchise in the best way. I'm dying for a sequel.
I want another Resident Evil in that sort of vein, because I think at first person was like, oh, they're doing first person because they want VR support. But I mean, Resident Evil hadn't been good for a long time.
No,
like 6 was really bad.
Six was.
I mean, I thought trash. 5 was good.
I enjoyed 5. I enjoyed 5. Some of the best co-op fun I've ever had. Wasn't
exactly it.
Wasn't a survival experience by any means. No. I mean, maybe like in the first half hour when you're figuring out how things work, but then after that, it's literally a shoot fest with a friend.
That's exactly why I enjoyed it as well, because I played it in co-op. It seems a lot of people who played solo really didn't like it.
It wasn't great.
And then 4 was seminal, because 4 essentially did what 7 did.
Yeah,
it reinvented the series at the time.
Departed from its roots, but it was so freaking great that it was like, we don't actually care that it's not really a survival horror anymore, because again, it was a flat-out action fest, to a degree. I mean, I think the setting was still pretty dark, but
I think it was creepy as well. It was still way more action-oriented.
But by the end of the game, you like literally an army. You don't actually care. You just shoot whatever's in your way.
Kennedy Death Machine.
Yeah, Kennedy Death Machine. But then 7, it was just interesting because it went first person, but it kept all those little touches from the first 3 games. You've still got your fixed save point with the tape recorders, which I thought was just a clever little...
It was a good touch.
Well, yeah, a clever little spin on it. And then you've got your herbs and this and that. And then...
You got the clever environmental puzzles.
Yeah. So it's like, find this item, take it there, which sounds like a small thing, but I'm like, I really appreciate that, because I was a big fan of the first games. And to be frank, I played Resident Evil 6 because I'm a fan of the franchise, and I played it 2-3 years after it came out. I was like, I have to finish it, because I'm a completionist, in inverted commas, in the sense that I want to at least be able to claim that I've played like the whole franchise. So I can't just miss 6 despite it having not great reviews.
Terrible.
And I kid you not, 28 hours into that game.
To 6?
To finish it. That's how long it was, but it was shit.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great. So
like, not even middling or average. It's just bad.
I mean, look, if you want like a shooty mac shoot, it's fun in that regard, but it's not Resident Evil. Like, not by any stretch of the imagination.
And then you had like Raccoon City, which was shockingly bad.
Oh god, there were some spin-offs I didn't even look at. So
you enjoyed Revelations though.
Yeah, Revelations actually let's not forget that sort of kept the third-person action romp, but it went back to its roots to a degree. It's still very shooty mac shooter. Toward the end of the games, all start out like, oh no, it's creepy.
I need to try them on Switch, actually.
I think Revelations 1 is fun, but Revelations 2 was really like better in my opinion.
But the first Revelations was initially a 3DS game first.
Yes, but that nailed the tone, because you're on the ship with Jill, the character who's been with the franchise since the first game. I mean, she's
Jill Valentine.
One of the characters you play in the first game. You stuck on a ship, but the thing I didn't like about it, I know it sounds silly, you didn't fight zombies or humanoid figures. You basically fought these slime monsters, or which again in 7 that's what you fight. But it's I don't know. It was just something
7
about
it feels
it.
a bit different because of the Baker family. I think.
Yeah,
'cause
so
family's
there's that
creepy.
element. And then Revelations 2, you basically on an island and there's some shit that's happened and everyone's like a monster. And that to me, I just enjoy
It's
that
just
as well. I
better,
mean,
yeah.
it had low moments, but overall I enjoy the game. And if you haven't played it,
It
probably...
was episodic at first, wasn't it?
No, yeah, it was. It's still, it does play out like a TV show. It's like, here's
Oh,
episode
okay.
1, last time on
Oh,
Resident
okay, that's
Evil.
kind of cool. Okay.
So on Switch, I mean, if you haven't played it, grab it on the
Yeah, I
Switch. I think
haven't, yeah.
it should port to the system fine. I don't think it's graphic intense by any means. I mean, if you want, play Revelations 1. It's still great, don't get me wrong, but I think I preferred Revelations 2 more. But yeah, that's back to the point. Resident Evil 7.
But Resident Evil 7, there was, when you reviewed it, there was a very good moment in the opening where you have an environmental puzzle that uses a shotgun. You have to put a shotgun on a statue
Yes.
to weigh down and open
Oh,
a
yeah,
door.
yeah.
And that comes straight from the first game.
That's from the first game,
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's like Resident Evil 7 looked back at its heritage and was like, what did people like? They liked these interesting spaces that they could explore that were interweaving like puzzles, which I thought the Baker Mansion did really well and then moved away from later on in the game, which,
Yeah,
you
the
know,
end of the game,
not that great.
shooty Mac shoot.
Yeah.
Which tends to happen.
The
but
game
the build up
starts
there.
super strong and then just
Yeah.
gets slightly worse as you go. But in the same way, it's like, okay, people like that, but they also like the horror aspect, but they kind of hate, we don't want to go back to those controls of the first game because those controls back then, fine. Now, janky as fuck.
You can't use it.
Yeah. So how can we improvise on that? And oh look, what are games like Outlast doing now with horror? How are they implementing first person horror and stuff like that? And I just think it's them looking back at their history but integrating so many modern things that it creates something that is almost genre defining. Like when I think of a horror game now, I think of Resident Evil 7 because I don't like games like Outlast because I feel like they go a step too far and they take too much power away from you as a player that you feel completely
Helpless,
useless.
yeah.
Like Resident Evil toes that line really well, especially in the very first segment. You feel like fucking terrified of what's the husband's name? I forgot his name. Fred.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, Mr. Baker. Fred
I don't
Baker.
remember his
I don't
name
know,
either.
but him. But like
Oh,
when you're
what
walking
did I
around
look
that small space and he's running around, you're terrified, but you also feel like if you get found, you have a way to kind of get away.
You've got the means to tackle the situation. It's not like you've been given, say, a machine gun, whatever, which will sort the situation out, but you're not helpless.
Yeah, you know that
don't
if you
have
make a
to run.
mistake, it's not game over, but you, at the same time, also do not want to be found by this dude.
Oh, yeah. But as a matter of interest, did you play the PT demo at all?
No, not at all.
No. Okay, so that's Resident Evil 7. Yeah, it took from Outlast, but it definitely took some
From PT.
some notes from PT because that, I mean, when that came out, that was probably the. It's so sad that game didn't get made. I don't know how they would. I don't know how they would have carried it for a whole game. That whole feeling, but just that hour is like probably one of the best horror experiences I've ever had. And you know me, I don't really enjoy so Resident Evil 7 is exactly what you said. I'm given the tools to handle whatever situation. So yeah, it's scary, but I'm not gonna die because unless I do something wrong.
To me, it's more thriller than horror in many respects.
Whereas the PT trailer was just flat out like mess with your head, terrifying. I mean, I played that with surround sound, and you hear shit behind you, and you look around, and So they took pages from that definitely. Just the fact that in first person you've got your narrow perspective, and then they just worked it into the Resident Evil 7, the Resident Evil franchise, I guess, and it worked because there's just like the perfect balance of old and new.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly what you said. There were those little nods, like here's the shotgun. If you played the first game, you'll know you need to weigh this down because that's how you solve the puzzle. But it's in a new first-person skin, and it just works really well.
Yep.
Yeah, you should definitely write that article. I think those three already are like great examples.
It's just like Zelda as well. Like you get told, oh, there's 4 guardians. You're like, cool, there's my 4 dungeons.
Yeah.
Someone who's never played Zelda before probably has the same sort of feeling, but doesn't understand the heritage that's come from. And then someone who has played the Zeldas are like, oh, I need to do these 4 dungeons. Oh, wait, the game's actually not forcing me to. Oh, wait, the game's actually not telling me which one to go to first.
Yeah,
Like, it's a complete...
You've got complete freedom.
It's a complete spin on your expectations, but still paying homage to where the games came from. And I think that's it's an incredibly difficult thing to pull off, but the fact that we've had 3 games that have successfully done that within the space of 2 years.
Yeah, not even. It's a year and a half.
Yeah, Resident Evil came out beginning
January last year.
Yeah, so like 3 games in the space of a year and a half that have nailed that kind of, granted a very niche kind of design aspect. It fascinates me a lot, and it's, yeah, I don't know, play God of War.
That's the concluding takeaway from this.
Play God of War.
Oh, just as a matter of interest, Mr. Baker's name is Jack Baker.
Jack Baker, yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, I remember now.
And you've got Marguerite Baker. And I never played the DLC for that game. Which I
haven't played it either. Where you play as Chris Redfield.
Yeah, but not in that. I mean, do you remember in the game you got those little tapes, which were like little nuggets of story within the game. Yeah. So the DLCs are it's a lot of that, and
there's one that's Path of Zoe, which is like a prequel-ish, and then there's Chris Redfield afterwards.
Yeah.
That's Shooty McShootface.
But still,
yes.
Go play Resident Evil 7 and God of War and Breath of the Wild and all these other great games.
Breath of the Wild's so good. I wish I could wipe my memory and play Breath of the Wild again. Fuck.
Yeah, it is.
What
great.
A game. What a game.
That. So just as a matter of interest, I put 75 hours into The Witcher 3. I put 105 hours into Breath of the Wild.
I think I'm around the same.
And that was a lot easier purely because Switch and portability, so I could do that a lot quicker.
Yeah, I racked up that number very quickly.
Yeah.
Because I was just playing pockets here and there.
Yeah,
you know?
it just happened.
And but it was also like creating artificial goals for myself. I'm like, I could go kill Ganon. Maybe I should finish all the shrines. Like, maybe I should finish all the memories.
Yeah,
go that. Or maybe I should get this armor set.
Yeah, I did exactly the same. And then it's exactly what I did with The Witcher though. It's like you have to finish a game, but you want to sort of draw it out, and then you finish it. You're like, man, I'm really happy but really sad because I'm never going to experience that again for the first time.
Yep. Yeah, that's how I feel with God of War.
God of War now, yeah.
I felt it so many times during the game. I'm like, you know, I don't think it's rare for me to say, like, I really enjoyed this game, but it is rare for me to go, man, I wish this game just never ends.
Yeah,
like, it just does not end, and I just keep having the sense of like surprise that constantly came with each story, but like I hope that feeling never stops, and
it did.
Like it does, and like no matter how many times I go back to it, it will just never feel the same.
Yeah. But
that's the hallmark of a great game. So
yeah.
You've been playing anything else?
No, I'd finished SteamWorld Dig 2 last week, though, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, let's go for that. I mean, we don't have any questions this week, so it might be a slightly shorter podcast. But,
I know.
There's a lot of news, though.
Yeah, you guys are all taking holiday. You don't want to give us your questions. It's fine. We get it.
It's fine. We got lots of good questions last week, so I appreciate it.
Made up for it. But just SteamWorld Dig 2, I spoke about it briefly in episode 5, 6. But upon listening, I was like, I didn't actually explain the game. You were like, SteamWorld Dig. I'm like, yeah, great game, fun to play. But I didn't actually explain what it is. So let's just recap. Okay. So SteamWorld Dig 2
Sell me on SteamWorld Dig.
Is a platformer, a very gorgeous looking platformer where you play as a character called Dorothy. So aesthetically, the whole world is literally like steampunk, I guess. You're playing as robots in a city of robots, if you want to call it that.
Very cool looking robots. They look like they're like
people, but they're not people.
Well, just as a sidebar, like the thing I love most about SteamWorld Dig 2 is just the animation of the characters.
Their limbs, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like each limb is animated individually, and it's just super cool.
It looks really cool. And so Dorothy, you literally start out, and Dorothy is looking for her friend Rusty, who is the protagonist from the first game. Never played it, but it's made... it's not made obvious, but I think I just knew that from reading. Anyways, so your whole objective is to go find him, and there are rumors going around the town that you start at that Rusty is his name is Rusty, right?
I'm not making that up. He's the protagonist in the first few games, and he's missing now.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of earthquakes, and it's believed that he's causing them, and it's up to you.
What a dick.
Yeah, what an asshole. You know, saved the city in the first game, and now he's just a dick. So,
now he's just like, man, that was boring.
So,
and just fucked up.
So it's this big mystery, not really. So you have to go find him, and in order to find him, you have to dig through a whole lot of mines. So you're literally hitting at rocks, and in exploring and that you get resources. You cash those resources in to buy better gear, and you just dig deeper and deeper and deeper.
You get more tools to help you dig different types of rock.
Yeah, so it's very Metroidvania in the sense that you can't access certain areas, but you'll come across these, I don't know if they had a name in the game, but like these, I don't know, power points, whatever, where you get given a new ability.
It looks like a big robot just eats you for a momentary second and gives you
like
new power.
literally bolts on a new power to you, whatever.
Yeah.
So to give you an example, what is like, so like you get the pressure bomb.
Yeah.
Which you can't hit something while you're jumping.
You can't hit something above you.
Above you, yeah. So in order to solve that very early in the game, you get what's called a pressure bomb, which lets you shoot a bomb a short distance to, explode a little block of rock.
But the pressure bomb needs water.
But anyways, that's an example of a power-up. And you get these throughout the game, and the map just opens up, and it opens up, and it opens up. And you're just looking for Rusty. But along the way, you're getting all these cool upgrades, and you find cogs that you can use to like tweak your skill set. So one dumb example is if you equip a cog in your pressure bomb tool, you'll suck up water quicker. Which is like a little, like you don't need it, but it's a cool little touch. But that's just like an insignificant upgrade. You get one, for example, that lets you, your pressure bomb will, eat through harder rocks.
It's cool that you can redistribute those cogs
it's
at
not
any time.
it's not a fixed system.
And
then along the way you get these rooms where you find, well, how am I explaining this? You find puzzles along the way where if you solve them, you are rewarded with more cogs or more resources. But the game is just really fun. I think it's paced well. I never felt a dull moment. I mean, it is so funny because I started the game after the first hour or two. I immediately fell in love with it. I'm like, this is a really fun game. But then I distinctly remember one Sunday just sitting in Lenska's cottage. We were just chilling, and then I played for like, not even kidding, 4 hours solid. She ended up like having a nap, and then she woke up and I was still playing. Like I just had this urge to keep going deeper and deeper, and I kept finding new gear, and I loved the game. I mean, it's not long. It took me, I explored,
like a 6 hour.
No, I took about 8 hours.
Okay, so you explored a bit
but I
more,
explored quite a lot. Yeah, but I still didn't find every artifact that there is to find. But I got more than my value out of that game.
Yeah, there's loads of side stuff.
You are rewarded for exploration. I mean, you can very easily just, I suppose, head straight down and head to the next objective, and that's that.
That was the one thing that surprised me when I first started digging. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have these pockets of sandboxes where you dig down. I didn't realize the whole game was just like the single mine that you just dig into.
It's literally you digging down into the mine.
It's crazy. And like creating pathways for yourself so that you can get back to other secret rooms, when you have the tools that you need to get past them. Like you have to really think about how you're getting around this mine.
I mean, and there are hazards along the way. Obviously, there are
beetles.
little beetles, whatever. But then
cactuses that explode.
It introduces little ideas like that. It's quite nice. I mean, so at the beginning you've got those little cactuses, but then later on you'll get items that, like natural hazards that explode, and they spread to the adjacent blocks, and they explode, and they spread to adjacent blocks.
I forgot about that.
So you have to, and it introduces these. Like it's not like you have one for 2 hours and then the next little mechanics introduced. They come pretty thick and fast, if I recall, and it just forces you to plan ahead. And you, long story short, you're not just heading straight down into the mine. You have to be a bit strategic, think about what you have, and it's just fun. Like it really is.
It is really fun.
When you get, I mean, the one upgrade you get is a grapple hook.
Oh yeah, that is super
and
good.
And you get that, and yes, then you just start navigating this mine and you fly through it. So one of the mechanics of the game, you've got a light, and you can dig without it, but it's obviously not advised because you can't see shit around you.
You have to upgrade the light.
You upgrade it because then your light only lasts, say, I don't know, 2 minutes when the game starts.
Yes.
And so you dig down and it runs out, and you're forced to go back up, which is fine because then it forces you to sell all your items and upgrade and go back down. But when you've got the grapple hook, yes, you're in and out of that mine often and repeatedly, and it's just really addictive. There's something, I don't know what it is, but it's funny because Lenska, the one thing she enjoyed about Stardew Valley was the simple therapy of hitting rocks. Mm-hmm. So the sound of it and just collecting them. In Steamworld Dig 2, there's just something about that sound of just chipping away down into the mine, and then
It's rhythmic. It's just like
and then
ding.
then you find resources, and there's a sound of picking them up, and it's just very, very satisfying. And you go and you cash them in, and then there's that cash money sound, and
Yeah.
you buy new items,
And the grumpy robot's always up there. The mayor's just an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, it's very light on the story, but I mean, that's not the point of the game. It's
It's definitely a game about exploration, like you said, Metroidvania aspects to it, and
so
it's just really good. It's
neat little game.
Yeah, it's a neat little game, and it's cool that, I mean, I think it's perfect on Switch.
Oh yeah,
but you can pick
It's
it up on
available
PS4
on,
and
many
PC
platforms,
and
so.
stuff like that. But like you said, I think it's super, super well paced. Like, you never feel like, oh, I've had this, this item for long and I haven't got anything new for a while. Every time you're just about to get bored with an item, you get a new one.
Something, yeah.
And then they like combine, or, you have a new way of getting around, and it's so good.
And if you do get bored, then just get to the next objective fast. It's up to you if you want to sit and chip away and explore the mine and find more resources.
And find as many gems as you want and stuff like that. The thing that bugged me a little bit at the beginning of the game was just how small my inventory was. So I kept making trips up to the top to sell stuff, because eventually I was like not picking up any new resources. But other than that, I just love the game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's solved as soon as you upgrade your backpack.
It was like the first thing I upgraded fully almost, because I was just like, fuck this. If I'm going to be down in their mine for ages, I want to be able to pick up as much as I can.
Even if I can't see in the dark, I'm not going to upgrade my life.
Exactly. I can hear that satisfying cling sound of all the gems and stuff, and then...
It's all good.
Yeah.
So that's SteamWorld Dig. Really enjoyed it. And I might go back and play the first one. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been tempted to do it as well. I've heard the first SteamWorld Dig... it won't be as polished and as intricately designed as this, but apparently it's still good. And then SteamWorld Heist is apparently very good as well.
What is SteamWorld?
So SteamWorld Heist is different. It's more of a strategy game, as far as I can tell, more like tower defense-y almost. But it continues the story.
Same story. Okay.
Yeah, same, but it's not. SteamWorld Dig, the first one, is the same type of game as this.
SteamWorld Dig too. Oh, okay. So there's that game, and I'm done with it.
Should we go through game releases?
News. Oh, wait, game releases. What is? Do we even have anything coming out?
I think so.
There's nothing that comes to. I know we're in that nice awkward little moment now up until E3 where there's not much.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, when is Detroit out?
So Detroit's out at like the end of May.
Okay, sorry. I thought that was out too. Yeah. There's a demo out now, though.
There's a demo out. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you feel like punishing yourself with more dedicated writing, I'm not a fan. You can also pick up Beyond Two Souls.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that though.
So let's see. What's the date of that? The 27th. Oh, so some games that we missed last week that I do want to touch on real quick. One of them's called Sort of Ditto.
Oh, yeah?
They came out on the 24th.
Sort of Ditto.
Yeah,
What's that?
It's out on PS4 and PC, I think. It is sort of like a homage to older 2D Zelda games.
Oh yeah.
With this like element of procedurally generated randomness to it, but not so much that, like, if someone hadn't told you it's procedurally generated, some people are straight up not even realizing that it is.
Oh wow.
But it is like a 2D adventure where, your objective is to go out into this world and get, new items that unlock different paths to new dungeons. And, there's this fantastical story to it. But what I really like is the aesthetic. It just looks like a Saturday morning cartoon. And even all the weapons are kind of weird. Like, you'll get like yo-yos or like a plastic hammer or stuff. And I
feel like I've seen this game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have. It's been advertised quite a bit in recent months. And like you use... I think they call it toy power or something like that as your magic, quote unquote, to use some of these weapons. So apparently it's super fun, not that long, and just a neat thing. I'm really sad it's not on Switch, but who knows if it will come. But yeah, if you're craving some like 2D Zelda-ish stuff, then Sort of Ditto.
Was that out last week?
Yeah, it was out on the 24th.
And this, what else is from last week that you want to touch on?
South Park Fracture Battle came out on Switch to very little fanfare.
Yeah.
Nothing really else. And there's nothing really else the rest of this month. So there's a bunch of games I've never heard of called like Drago Dino.
Nice.
Which came out yesterday. Late Shift, which came out yesterday.
How am I missing these games?
Lightfall, which came out yesterday. Both of them on Switch. Saturday morning RPG out on Switch yesterday.
The Switch is getting way too many games. Which is actually a problem if they don't curate it. They need to, not curate it, but they need to.
It's just bad.
Yeah, they need to really give it an overhaul. I don't know, categorize stuff or
finding stuff like I was speaking to someone the other day because I know, good old Nyamacorp. You know the guys who are making Semblance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, ethics committee quote. I'm good friends with them. I studied with them. So.
Well, where did the ethics committee come from? How did they even get into a house?
The FCC is coming for me. I'm good friends with them, so I've been privy to a lot of development on the game. They still won't tell me when it's coming out, but they were explaining to me basically that because they're launching on Switch, they've already announced that. Like if you aren't on the front page of the Switch. There are very few people that scroll down to, the load more.
Last week.
The load more thing. So beyond the first page, unless you know the name of the game so you can search for it, like your discoverability is naught.
Yeah, they need to fix that.
All it's sorted by is like most selling and most recently out. So there's no like genre definitions. Not really. I mean, there is a filter, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
They need to redo
like
that eShop.
Yeah, they need like
it's far too bare bones.
A curation committee just to like not to say like this game's better than this one.
Yeah, just to surface things.
Just
better.
to like to categorize.
Like this week, highlight this pocket of games for this sort of genre or stuff.
Yeah.
So, but
so nothing else.
Corgan on Xbox One. No idea what the fuck that is.
I don't know what these games are.
But
they mean nothing to me.
The next time we record is the 4th of May, so I can look at some early May games.
What are we looking forward to?
There's Battlezone Gold Edition.
Wow.
Like Tank Warfare.
Wow.
Oh, there's actually a cool game coming out. Okay, we'll get to it. Killing Floor Incursion, which I didn't know existed, which is a PSVR version of Killing Floor.
Nice.
Sounds cool. Coffee Crisis coming to...
Whoa. That's too close to home.
Coffee's garbage.
What? There's always one moment where we unfriend on this podcast, and that is this episode.
Did you not see all the discourse on Twitter when I said that? Jeff blocked me on Twitter because I said coffee is trash.
What? You legitimately don't like coffee?
No, I don't like coffee. I think it tastes like garbage.
Which is like I have to resist the urge to flip.
Iced coffee is cool.
Okay,
that's like a milkshake.
You've still got hope. It's okay.
But like normal coffee, fuck that. It's tea for life.
I can't even look you in the eye now.
Super Mega Baseball 2.
Oh man.
Do you like baseball? I don't like baseball. I went to watch baseball once after E3. It was so boring.
Tell us about your time in the sun.
How did people... Yeah, so we paid like $80 for these tickets. I went with David and David from SA Gamer. We paid like $80. We're like, cool, we're going to see a traditional American baseball game. We were seeing the LA Dodgers. No idea if they're good. Still don't know if they're good because I hardly watched the game. We're like, we're going to buy fucking beer. We're going to get a hot dog. We're going to watch the game. There. We've got the nosebleed of nosebleed seats. Like, unbelievable. And we're also in the roasting sun. It was so hot.
How was your tan?
Dying.
Your nice
I bought a hat there because I was dying. I paid $40 for a fucking hat because I couldn't survive.
You fell into that tourist trap.
Jesus, it was bad. And then we get there. We're like, cool, let's get beers. It's like $10 for a small Budweiser. I was like, fuck. And then we bought a hot dog. It was like $15 for a hot dog.
Yes, you got screwed.
Yeah, we got screwed big time. And then we realized after all this that baseball is incredibly boring to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's really slow. It's really slow. There's lots of like breaks in between. And I didn't realize how few times the people actually hit the fucking ball.
Yeah, it's not
like
many.
It's pretty normal that the ball is hit fairly infrequently. So fuck that.
How long, as a matter of interest, how long does one game last? I actually have no idea.
I don't know. We were there for about 3 hours and it still wasn't done.
No.
And
What
it
innings
started
were you
before. I think when we got there, we were in the second innings.
Okay.
And then by the time we left, it was like maybe the fourth.
What? The fourth?
Yeah.
Doesn't baseball go up to nine?
Nine, I think, yeah.
Oh my god.
I can't remember fully, but we were so over it that we just left.
Yeah.
It was a big waste of money.
Well, I guess you won't be playing.
Super Mega Baseball can get fucked.
Or like super
Arcade
mega,
baseball's
nope.
fun though. Just
Yeah.
realistic baseball, nah.
Nah.
Um,
Nothing else?
Total War Saga: Thrones of Britannia.
Nope.
Nope.
I don't know any of these games.
City of Brass.
Nope.
Nope. And then my pick of the week: Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on Switch
Is
next
that this
Friday.
week? Next Friday. Okay, that's cool.
I'm fucking down for some funky Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong. Is that the one that came on Wii U, hey?
Yeah, it was out on Wii U. It's like a 2D platform, but everyone says it's
classic Donkey
super.
Kong.
Jeff
loves
never
it.
shuts up about how well designed it is.
And I hold Jeff's opinion in high regard because he
platformers,
he
100%.
loves platformers are
his baby.
Yeah, so
Yeah. I mean, he's always wrong about Mario 3 because that game's just garbage.
Oh
as
my
well.
god, and he hates Crash Bandicoot. What a heathen!
What a noob. Jesus. But yeah, it's I'm super keen to play that, and it's got like these little changes for
the Switch.
Yeah, for the Switch that are neat, and I'm keen for
that's
that.
on Friday. So only one game.
I learned something very disturbing about Donkey Kong this week.
What?
So we went through his family tree.
I know.
And it's so Donkey Kong isn't like the father of all the Kongs out there.
He's not.
His grandfather is Cranky Kong.
Yes.
Now get this shit. Cranky Kong had a son who he called Donkey Kong Jr. So
Yes.
Donkey Kong Jr. is the father to Donkey Kong.
For real?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
You've just blown my mind because the implied thing is that Donkey Kong Jr. is
Kong Jr. is not his
the
son.
So he's
It's
the
his
father. But then why is Donkey Kong Jr. so little and Donkey Kong is massive? Like,
Oh no, but that's not Donkey Kong Jr. That's another Donkey Kong entirely.
okay, I'm very confused.
Donkey Kong Jr. is, as far as I could tell, the bad guy in the original Donkey Kong.
Like
where he's
like
throwing
literally.
barrels at Mario.
Oh, jeez, like.
And then Donkey Kong, who's now is the Donkey Kong that we know. Or I'm getting it all wrong and it's all actually Donkey Kong.
This is
But
confusing.
yeah, then he has a son who's called something else, and he's the little one that runs with Donkey Kong, and that's not Donkey Kong.
I'm going to
Jr.
go read up on this straight after this podcast, straight after recording.
Nintendo,
'cause
get your shit together
what
with
the hell's
canon.
going on?
Have you ever tried to follow like what's happening in Zelda?
The Zelda canon. Oh
or
my
in
gosh.
Mario
don't
canon?
even-
No one knows what the fuck.
Okay.
They only figured out that Toad isn't wearing a fucking hat to...
It's his
what
head,
the
bro.
hell? It's his head. He's a shroom.
Yeah, like literally in every sense
Jesus,
of the word.
Miyamoto, get your shit together.
She's like, this guy, creative genius, they say, but what the hell is going on?
Fuck.
Okay, so
Let's get
that's.
to you. After I rant more about
I know.
friggin' Donkey Kong.
Okay, what is the time here?
That's,
okay, we're doing okay. We're okay for time.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. One of the cool things I saw this week. So two things that happened this week while the news is loading. So firstly, by the time this goes out, we would have seen the reveal for Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, the reveal's only happening later today.
But there's a whole lot of press at some events, but they haven't unveiled it.
Yeah, they haven't unveiled it. There's going to be, the full-on trailer later today.
So that we've just seen screenshots, I think.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, cool. Another big reveal that happened this week was Destiny 2 Warmind, which is the next expansion. Maddie's falling asleep already.
I give Destiny so much flack, but I probably would enjoy Destiny. Let's be honest.
I'll stick to like 60 seconds in it. So it's basically like new planet, Rasputin's come alive, and he's
But I spilled them.
fucking activated some AI shit. It's like Skynet happening on Mars.
I know.
And they were destroying the surface of Mars, and they accidentally like unfroze a bunch of frozen hive enemies there. So now you're gonna go do shit there.
Gotta go save Mars.
Save the world. There's new exotics. There's big alterations to PvP, and there's this like wave-based horde mode that happens as a public event on Mars itself, which is, can't remember the name now, but it looks pretty cool. Then again, I said a lot of this about Trials of Osiris,
And
which
how did
I
that
thought was
turn
really
out?
cool, and it was bad. It's just. Oh no, wait! It's not called Trials of Osiris. It's called something of Osiris. I don't know. That expansion was just bad. It was just not good.
Oh.
It was, so yeah, I'm tentatively cautious about that. And then the last
Destiny.
thing is that Tacoma got announced for PS4. Did you ever play Tacoma?
No. Nope.
Did you ever play Gone Home?
Nope. I should.
What?
I know. I'm
you ever play
I'm a
Minerva's
bad
Den for
gamer.
Bioshock 2?
I did. Yeah. So you said that was one of the writers.
Well, yeah,
Well,
the
that
writers
team.
behind Minerva's Den made
They
Gone
made
Home,
those
and now
games.
they've made Tacoma.
Well, then I should play those two.
Yeah,
games,
Tacoma's real
clearly.
good. I enjoyed Tacoma.
Is Tacoma the
Space one.
Space one.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, it feels very Bioshocky in a way, because it's like a space station where shit has gone wrong, but the story's really good. And
That's where the next Bioshock is set. Just
in space. No, that's just called
hot
Prey.
take. Oh no, you're right. It is Prey. It's been done already.
It's been done. That is Prey,
Wow.
set in stone.
Oh, no.
But Tacoma, what I like about Tacoma is that, a lot of these games are like walking simulators, which I do not understand why there's a negative connotation to
Yeah.
that. I will 100% play a walking simulator any day of the week because they have generally great
Even me.
stories. But this one is more like you'll have a group of holograms who are talking and filling you in on the conversation. Then some of them will break away and walk away, and you'll stop hearing their conversation. So you have this ability to kind of rewind time and then follow them and hear what they were saying in respect to the conversation you just heard. So it's a bit more active. You're not just sitting in a place and reading a note or
alright.
listening to someone. You're listening to a conversation, rewinding, going to a different area where another character was and listening to what they were saying at the same time and piecing together
Okay, putting it
things.
together. That's interesting.
It's very cool, yeah. It's very, very
Tacoma, but
It's a
when
bit
is
too long, I think.
How long is it?
It's like 6 or so hours.
Okay.
I think the story could have wrapped up far quicker than that.
4 hours.
But otherwise, really good game.
Nice. And that's coming to PS4.
Yeah, and that's out on May 8th.
Oh, so it's
Yeah,
soon.
that's
Wait,
soon.
what was it on before? Just PC?
PC and Xbox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's coming to PS4.
So, news.
News. The thing. Well, what is the headline for you this week?
Oh, something
Your
big
pick of the
happened
week.
yesterday that is not gaming related, but the next Star Wars animated series got announced. Have you watched any of them? No Clone Wars, no Rebels.
I'm a very bad nerd. If you haven't noticed,
They are really, really, really,
I'm a
really,
casual
really
nerd.
good.
I should watch them.
The showrunner for this new one is the showrunner on Star Wars Rebels, which was
Which you
like
also
jaw-droppingly good at
Oh.
times. Yeah, very, very good. So
That's on Netflix, I think.
it is on Netflix now. Yeah.
I actually saw
Clone
it
Wars is on
yesterday.
Netflix as well,
Yeah,
which is
I
phenomenal.
should catch up.
Um,
So many things to
but this
watch
one
and
takes
play.
place just before Force Awakens, and it's going to have Poe Dameron and Captain
okay,
Phasma
more
and stuff. Yeah,
their
it's about a young resistance fighter, a pilot, and him spying on the First Order and
Is
stuff.
it Han Solo?
Maybe, might be the son of Chewbacca.
Star Wars fans just had heart attacks all around the world saying, oh my gosh, this guy butchering the law. Spock's still my favorite Star
Oh
Wars
yes,
character.
Jesus my God, get out of here! I'll drown you in coffee.
Oh my god, what? That is so cruel.
How do you feel about loot boxes?
Nah,
Guess
look,
what they banned?
loot boxes in Belgium?
Yes, Belgium banned loot boxes.
Loot boxes, I think, look, let's be honest, it's not a great thing. I don't think it's great as a whole, but I do still feel strongly that some people do loot boxes right. It's like, I think Overwatch...
What would you define as a good loot box? Yeah.
Well, the thing is, a loot box to me is perfectly fine if it's literally just a cosmetic. It doesn't break the game in any way. You don't get like unfair advantages, like in a pay-to-win scenario.
Like Battlefront 2 did.
Like Battlefront 2. That being said, and look, Overwatch to me does it. They're an example of how to do it right, because you can play the game normally and get loot, which is cool. But it does become a problem for people who like need to have every skin or whatever it is, and then it still hinges on a form of gambling.
The addictive nature of
The
it.
addictive nature, yeah. So, but that again though is like Counter-Strike, I think, is not a great example, because you can open up a loot box and potentially get something that's worth a lot of money and sell it. So that's more of like a gambling connotation. But I don't know.
Overwatch,
Like,
you can't sell the items that you get in loot crates. There's no monetary value attached to them.
So while I'm not a fan of Blizzard they've got way too many items. So like the chances of and you've got limited seasonal event items and this and that. But I think they come close to getting it right, because it's not, yes, maybe it's addictive and whatnot, but it's not necessary. So for someone like me, I've never bought an Overwatch loot box, and I never will because I don't feel the need to. That being said, I spent a lot of money on Dota items back in the day because I was big into the game and I particularly liked having my characters look a certain way or whatever. But even then, I never saw it as gambling. But that's me, and I know there are other people who, you know, they not as... I don't want to say like strong-willed, but there's an addictive nature and they want to...
the whales of anything, you know, the ones that spend thousands and thousands and outspend, you know, for every one whale, it's like 10,000 other players who are spending almost nothing. I don't think that's so much an issue. Like, I mean, yes, having these things that are 100% engineered to be addictive, like the opening of a loot box is designed in such a way that it's an exciting event. And the rarity of items, it's like, you know, it's this excitement that builds and it plays on all sorts of things in your brain, just like gambling machines do. It's why they're sparkly and make all these noises and stuff. Like, you think it's just for show, but it is a 100% mental game that it's playing with you. And I think it is dangerous for people with addictive personalities.
Yes.
That said, gambling isn't banned. Well, okay, in Belgium has a very strong stance against all sorts of gambling. So this is not that surprising. But like, if we just look at a local perspective, gambling isn't banned. You just need to be 18. You know, and there's always signs there that say seek help if you're, you know, struggling with an addiction to gambling or whatever. And like anything in this world, it's a vice. You know, you can be addicted to drinking, to smoking, to playing games, to gambling. It is an addiction at the end of the day. And I don't think something like that should be banned just because it is potentially addictive. The problem comes in with games being marketed to children. Overwatch has a rating that allows it to be played by teenagers. Now, if you're talking about systems that can be compared to gambling that are then being sold to children, that becomes a problem. Because, you know, gambling isn't legal for minors. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, even though I agree that Overwatch is a good way of implementing loot boxes so that they don't affect the game, I still think that loot boxes as a whole are a form of gambling. They should not be marketed to children.
I think, to be completely honest, we could do without the system. Like,
100%.
There's absolutely no need for loot boxes. I mean, I won't lose sleep.
What's the difference between a loot box and Dota, where you're able to buy the items that you want piecemeal?
But I mean, I won't lose sleep over the idea of like all developers tomorrow say, well, sorry, we're patching loot boxes out of our game. That really won't faze me.
I mean, to me, that to me seems like the most logical solution. You know, Belgium is now banned it. The Netherlands has given a deadline for publishers to remove it as well. For me, the easiest method of getting around this is saying, cool, it's not a loot box. It's not random. Here are the items you can buy. Spend $5 on the skin pin, $2
so
on
do
the
it,
skin.
maybe
Don't
do
make
that.
it random.
Maybe do it that way. Or if, I mean, and just to make it fair, if you don't want to spend the money, then you earn in-game currency and you can spend that on whatever you want. I mean, that's fun.
Because that's what it is. The problem with loot crates is their random nature and the kind of dopamine hit that you get when you open up a crate and a fucking gold skin comes out and you're like, shit, I want to open 10 more of these because who knows, how many more I could get. And that's where the gambling aspect comes in. And, it's either that or all games with loot boxes specifically say that they have loot boxes on them and then they have to be 18. Because they cannot, if a country is saying that they're gambling, they cannot be marketed to children. And then the issue becomes like, so do those age restrictions now need to be enforced? Because they never are.
No, then really not.
Because the government is saying that if they find cases where children have been purchasing loot crates, publishers can be liable for fines and stuff like that. It's a fucking mess. It's a mess.
But John Michael, my colleague at the office, actually made a good point. He said, like, forget loot boxes. Look at what Fortnite is doing with their stuff. So, I mean, you can buy the battle pass. You don't have to. You can still earn cosmetics. But if you've got the battle pass, if you want the John Wick skin, cool, just buy the levels to get it. But otherwise, you know exactly what you're getting and you're just putting time. You can either put time or money in and it's not random. So you're not going to, I don't know, like...
Yeah, to me, that's not gambling because you're giving money to a system and knowing exactly what you're going to get out. That's not gambling. That's a purchase.
So you can put the time in or put the money in to get... If you really want the John Wick skin, then by all means, put in X amount of dollars. So, I mean, that sort of system, when he told me that, I was like, you're actually right. That sort of system could work
Yeah,
mini games.
That to me seems like the easiest way for them to convert it.
Yeah, so just create seasonal content and tell people, cool, here's like the level 100 unlock, or here you can get your choice of these unlocks and just play the game and work your way toward it. I mean, and that's fair. So yeah.
I think where it's dangerous is like you said, CSGO, you see like Overwatch, this Belgian committee pointed out Overwatch, CSGO and FIFA 18 as the ones that break what they define as gambling for minors. And to be fair, I only really see ones like FIFA and CSGO's real egregious ones, because in FIFA it's all about the fantasy league teams. You get packs of cards which represent players, and then you can trade, and so there's value attached to all of these things. In Overwatch, it's just for your personal game.
Yeah.
And CSGO, like you said, is like you open a crate, you can have a fucking knife skin that is worth $1,000 or some bullshit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And like that has monetary value that you can enact on their marketplace, or you can gamble with these items on websites.
For like
which
pro
is a
events and
huge
whatnot.
problem.
Yeah.
Like there's all sorts of controversies going on around that, and like that is, in every sense of the word, that is gambling. And since that's open to children, that's a fucking problem. And that's why governments are getting involved, because they're like, no one is, put it this way, the games industry is not self-regulating this. They're just letting it happen. And government's like, cool, we're stepping in. And that is always a problem. Like the games industry should have found a way to self-regulate this a long time ago. And it's
So problems.
It's a problem. And I don't think Belgium's going to be the first.
No, I think others will follow.
This is... Yeah, because Australia and New Zealand have already said they don't think it's gambling. The UK is the same. I think as soon as
they said it's not gambling.
Not gambling.
Okay, so they're okay with it.
But I foresee, it taking one or two more controversies, because this was really spurred on by Battlefront, or a big government like the America taking a huge stance in this, or a few states, because that's already happening. A few states in like Hawaii wants to ban them and stuff like that. And when you start affecting big markets, that's when publishers will be forced to change things.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Ongoing story that. Yes.
So that's like one of the big news pieces, I guess. But what else is there?
Switch.
Is that Switch news I see?
Switch is doing
oh my god, Switch is just doing so well. If for all the naysayers out there, Switch is here to sit.
Do you want me to run you through some
just throw the numbers at me.
Dope stats. Okay, coming at you hot. 17.79 million units sold, so just under 18 million.
That's so good.
I
didn't even know what noise it was that came out.
That's the sound Shigeru Miyamoto makes whenever Mario jumps somewhere in the world.
She's like, I don't know whether that is excitement, I suppose.
That's for a first year. Let's put this into perspective. In the first year that the PS4 was out, it only sold 14 million. And
only inverted commas, and that's a shitload.
And that's currently one of the best-selling consoles of this generation.
So I think the stage is set. I mean, just think about the PS4 now with God of War. How many more people are gonna pile onto that bandwagon? Oh my!
So Nintendo also wants to sell 16 million more Switch units by this time next year, citing Smash Bros. And Pokemon as potential big sellers.
That's not even... I don't even think they'll struggle to reach that, to be honest.
If Pokemon comes out between now and then, 100%.
Yes. Do you want to make some predictions? How many do you think they'll sell for... So, like, say Pokemon comes out this year.
I think they'll sell...
Like what? 20 million. Yeah, I was also going to say
easy.
20, maybe 25 at a push.
Pokemon is the reason the 3DS sold like gangbusters.
Yeah, so
it is the seller.
So you heard it here first. 20 million Switch units by next year, March/April, if Pokemon comes out this year. And with Super Smash, I mean, geez, it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah. The Switch has now sold more Wii U's that were ever sold in its lifetime.
Oh, more than
Wii U, yeah.
So you said Switch has sold more Wii U's, which has been visioning a Switch at a store selling
they're packaged to Wii U's.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it sold more in its first year than Wii U did in its lifetime.
Yes, that is so sad though. Oh man, that poor Wii U.
And then just games. Games have done extremely well. So Super Mario Odyssey has sold 10.5 million units.
Shit. I mean, that came out in October.
Yep. So it's been
in freaking
7-8 months, and it sold 10.5 million units, which also puts it at a...
No. October is 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
5 to 6 months. Think of it, half a year. It's insane.
That means that more than 1 in every 2 Switch owners has Mario Odyssey. Which attach rates are very important because whenever you look at something like the Vita, that was the problem. Games would come out, and even though there were X million out in the wild, very few people were buying software. So attach rates are huge. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is a port of a Wii U game, 9.2 million, which is absurd.
It's ridiculous.
Zelda Breath of the Wild, 8.5 million. So get this. Zelda Breath of the Wild, 8.5 million on Switch. In total, because it came out on Wii U, it's actually sold 10.5 million, which has now made Zelda Breath of the Wild the best-selling Zelda ever made.
Which is, again, mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing. Splatoon 2, 6 million.
This one, that actually blew me away. Because Splatoon 2 doesn't strike me as a game that appeals to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's
also very similar to its first game.
And it sold 6 million copies.
It sold 6...
I thought it would sell maybe 1 or 2 million.
You put that into perspective. That puts it in the same sort of, ranks as your Uncharted 4s and your Horizon Zero Dawns and PS4.
Yes, it's just insane.
For a almost strictly multiplayer game.
Yeah.
On a single system.
Well, on that tangent, I'm curious to see how many copies God of War sells, because I think that will outshine... Horizon Zero Dawn did really well last year. I think it's going to... Or has it already?
Sony is expecting their projections are 9 million.
Shit.
So that is their expectation. That's what they want to sell. So their expected lifetime sales for God of War is lower than what Super Mario Odyssey has already sold.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I think
it's
God
also
of War
lower than what Mario Kart 8 has already sold in less than a year. It just shows you the Nintendo power.
Yeah, Nintendo power.
Other exclusives didn't do so hot. 1-2 Switch, 2.2 million, which is a lot for something that should have been.
Let's be honest, that's 2.2 million pissed off people, because that game was really bullshit.
Yeah, that game should 100% have been a pack in.
I'm just lucky. I think you had that game from launch or something, or was it Jeff?
No. Jeff had it. I had it for a little bit.
Thank God I borrowed it from you guys, because then I would never.
It's got some neat ideas. Like the marble thing's really fun, but for $60,
not for a full priced game. That's the sort of game that should have. You say like how the Wii had Wii Sports as the throw.
It should have been the
Switch's throw-in.
ARMS didn't do so hot. 1.85 million.
To go back to that, if 1-2 Switch was bundled in with the Switch, that means 17.7 million
copies of
would have been sold.
I mean, that's why Wii Sports has such a ridiculous sales figure now, because it was a pack-in.
Sold so well.
God, that'd be horrible. Actually, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, hallelujah.
ARMS 1.8 million, which is not great.
That's not great, but again, I still thought it'd be like a million, 1.5
I wonder if they're going to continue with ARMS. Like, I wonder if this is them going, that experiment didn't work
out. How did Splatoon 1 sell on the Wii U?
Not great.
Dude, not great. But I mean, look what Splatoon 2 did.
But again, Splatoon 1 was on a console that was struggling.
Yeah.
ARMS is like
on
a new IP console. On a console that's doing really well.
Look, 1.8 million is not bad.
I still think it's a fun game that people should play, but I'm not incredibly surprised by that figure. Kirby Star Allies. This came out not even a month ago.
And that sold over a million.
Over a million copies already.
People love that Kirby guy.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Switch doing okay. In other tangential Switch news, Wolfenstein 2 got a Switch release date.
May or June? Or is that later?
28th of June.
Okay, so that's coming.
And just like Doom, it's not cutting any content, whatever. It's the same game.
Nah.
And it will hopefully run pretty well.
I hope so.
Also, Switch news. Jesus. Switch
Are we the Switch podcast again?
The Switch has been hacked.
I saw that.
Yeah, there's a hardware hack. So very, very quickly, there's a flaw with the NVIDIA Tegra chip that if you short out some pin, you get access to a recovery mode, and then doing some weird trickery there gives them access to the OS.
But not to condone this sort of activity, but I think it must be fascinating to be a hacker trying to figure out how to break a system, because who figures out like you short this pin and then this happens and then you get access. Like,
well, the two groups that disclosed all this information are essentially that they're enthusiasts.
They're actually not for
no, they don't want to release anything, and they don't want to release these fixes for piracy. But there's a third group who mentioned that they were going to do this. So these two groups got out ahead to say, hey, we don't want any part of this. We just enthusiasts. Here's how it's done.
Here's a fix.
It is incredibly dangerous to do so because you can
destroy
your Switch incredibly easily. So it's a very lengthy process, but essentially what it means is they are able to get operating systems like Linux running on the thing and homebrew apps. So piracy can become a concern, and because it's a hardware hack, Nintendo can't fix it.
Can't actually fix it. Well, not
until
with
NVIDIA
a patch,
updates the chip and, the new chips start getting put into new devices. But we've just seen 18 million sold. So that's 18 million compromised Switches on the market at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah. In not so Switch news, let's see what's happening.
Do you want to touch quickly on what PS Plus and Games for Gold is?
Sure.
So I know PS Plus is getting a fantastic game. Is it Rayman Legends, right? Or is it
Rayman Legends?
Yeah,
yes.
Which is, as far as platforming goes, it is a fantastic game. If you haven't played it, there's literally no excuse now. Actually, has it not been a PS Plus game before?
No.
I feel like it has been, but maybe not.
It was on Xbox Games for Gold a while back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then so that's really good. And then to balance out the really, really good, they've lumped it in with David Cage's previous baby,
Beyond Two Souls, which is terrible.
Which is
do not play that game.
Not great, apparently.
It's fucking garbage.
So
I mean, it's very clear that they put that in there because they're like, hey, Detroit's coming. But they should have put like fucking Heavy Rain or something, which is a better.
Yeah, I would have put Heavy Rain. Maybe that's been a PS Plus.
Beyond is so bad. Beyond is just so bad. It's so tonally inconsistent and just it's bad. Do not play that game.
There are those two games.
There's also the other games. Game called Eatem for PS3, Furmans for PlayStation Vita, King Oddball for PlayStation Vita, Risen 3, Titan Lords for PlayStation 3. So not a stellar, huge amount.
Well, Rayman's great.
Yeah, Rayman is phenomenal. Like, Rayman Origins is awesome, and Legends just builds on that.
Meh.
Xbox Games for Gold, really good this month, I think.
I think they were pretty good.
Okay, wait, hold on. I said that too soon. We've got...
Wait, did I... I'm sure I also thought they had a
Super Mega Baseball 2. Fuck baseball.
On Xbox. Yeah. Isn't that the same game that's launching on something?
Yeah, I think it's launching as free on Xbox. Fuck that game.
Oh, no.
No, I joke. Like, I've never played this game. I just really hate baseball. There is also one of the Mega Drive Genesis classics called Streets of Rage.
Nice.
But then the two big games. Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain.
Oh, yes. So it was a good month.
And then Platinum Games Vanquish, which is phenomenal.
Vanquish also. That's a game I need to finish. I got on PlayStation 3. I played it a bit, enjoyed it. But Metal Gear Solid 5.
Two really solid games.
Shit story. Really, really, really good game. Like, phenomenal game.
Yeah, Vanquish is something else. It is...
Yeah.
Oof. So yeah, a solid month.
They should bring Vanquish to the Switch.
Yeah. Yeah,
why not?
Oh my god.
So I think, pretty decent games on both platforms.
I think Rayman Legends and Rayman Legends saves PS Plus this month for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty good. Good. Let's see.
I didn't remember anything else.
Oh yeah, Camper Santo.
Oh yes, we actually did touch on this. Yes.
Firewatch. Yeah. Did you play Firewatch?
No, it's coming to Switch, isn't it?
Yes, it is actually good.
And that's when I'm gonna play it.
Good point. Actually, very cool game. Camper Santo. They're already hard at work on their second game called
Waterwatch.
Something of the God Valley of the Gods. That's
that's a deviation of Firewatch.
Valley of the Gods is kind of like a Firewatch, but you're two like investigators in Egypt. You're investigating the tombs, Egyptian tombs, like the early excavations of tombs and stuff like that.
You just physically represented tomb raiding by punching your mark.
Yeah, exactly. But now Camper Santo have been bought by Valve. It means that Valley of the Gods is going to be developed and published under the Valve name. I assume they'll keep Camper Santo's name because like that name's really good. Like it'll be cool if it's like developed by Camper Santo and Valve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not associated with hats yet.
But like we were saying, Valve, this is not surprising for Valve. Every one of Valve's big games have been acquisitions for games that never really started at Valve.
Yeah.
Portal is very notorious for that. It was a student project that Gabe Newell really liked, and he brought the people over to Valve, and it turned into Portal.
Portal 2, one of the best games ever made.
Left 4 Dead was in development at Turtle Rock before Valve got involved.
One of the best games ever.
Oh, Jesus. It's so
I love Left 4 Dead.
Team Fortress 2.
One of the best. No, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I enjoyed Team Fortress
was a
2.
mod that was then, created into Team Fortress 2, bought by Valve.
Yeah.
Counter-Strike, exactly the same
One
thing.
of the best games ever. No.
Dota 2.
I enjoyed.
Dota 2, a mod.
Oh, God. Don't even get me on Dota 2. I've poured too much. So, yeah, I put a lot of time into that game. Long story short, whatever Valve bars, there's something special about those games. I mean, they speak for themselves. All those names you've thrown out.
Is Half-Life the only thing they've developed in-house, completely?
I think it is, literally. But, I mean, look at all those other titles that they've come from other developers, and they've just been, Valve sort of assimilated them, and Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, great games. Portal 1 and 2, great games.
I just really hope this isn't like oh, cool, we really like Valley of the Gods, Campus Center pushes out Valley of the Gods, and then, they just disappear. They
I don't know.
Into the machine that is Valve.
The way I see it, Valve are working on Artifact, yay for card game development.
Artifact.
But I mean, the track record is pretty clear. We've just run through it, and whatever they do bar tends to be really, really, really good. So I don't know if this is just a strategic, hey, we really like this studio, we're going to buy them, or maybe they've seen concept of this game that is really phenomenal, and we have to have this under our banner, or I don't know. Is there anything on the game? Do we other than the premise which you've told me?
No, because they only revealed the game in December.
Okay,
so and they said it was coming out in 2019.
Okay, so I mean, why would Valve buy them though? I don't know what the reason is, but maybe they've seen something or they've been shown something. They're like, shit, this is really good.
I mean, Valve did say they want to get back into game dev, and this is a very
Valve, make games again.
This is
Stop
a very
selling
strong
hats.
indicator that they do want to. If they are acquiring devs that are Firewatch, the team is very good at storytelling. So what does that say for
Half-Life
the
3
return
confirmed?
of Half-Life. I put it this way, I never think Half-Life 3 is coming out because I think they've just waited far too long.
Yeah, it's way too long.
But they could start venturing into narrative games again.
Hey, you say that, but you never know. We've just spoke about how games reinvent themselves. Maybe Gordon Freeman's gonna.
Could you imagine?
Oh my God, mind blow.
I mean, I still don't think Half-Life 2 is as good a game as everyone thinks it is.
I think at the time it was mind blowing.
That's the argument that's always brought up. It's it's a time and place thing. I played it way outside of that time and place, and I was like, this isn't that impressive.
Just
So yes, I concede on that, but
imagine.
I don't know, man. I would 100% want Valve to get into more game dev because Portal 2 is one of my favorite games of all time.
It's
phenomenal, and I want more of that shit, man. I want a Portal 3. Fuck this. No Half-Life 3. It's
Orange
just called
Box 2.
Portal 3.
Oh no! Oh my gosh, we're
at the end of
merging all
Portal
of them.
2, Shell gets out of the cell. She runs into Gordon Freeman. She's like, "Hey, cool gravity gun." He's like, "Hey, cool portal gun," and they just fucking combine the two.
That could very well happen because Portal is setting that very well.
Imagine a shooter with the mechanics of Portal. You shoot a portal, you run through it, you're behind your enemies, and then you blast them with a shotgun.
It'd be amazing, and that could. I mean, they say that Infinity War is the most ambitious crossover. Although this wouldn't be a crossover because they exist in the same universe.
Exactly.
Half-Life 3 / Portal.
Hi-Res Valve. We'll fucking make this a reality.
Yeah, we won't do it well, but we'll definitely make it a reality. But I mean, come on. How cool would it be if Valve, this is a sign of them wanting to get back into game dev, and I mean, it doesn't have to be Half-Life 3 for crying out loud. No, any game. I mean, don't get me wrong, Artifact, by all means, I've got a history with Dota 2, and if Hearthstone's taught me anything, is that I've got plenty of time for card games, although I haven't played much Hearthstone lately.
Card games.
Despite that, I'm very open to see what the Dota card game looks like. And if that is a sign of Valve doing game dev again, then by all means, please give us more games. I mean, what is the last game they actually released? It was a Dota 2. In terms of actual...
Yeah.
I didn't even want... or CSGO. But I mean...
No. CSGO was way before Dota 2.
Yeah, no, it was way before. But what is the last narrative game probably was Portal 2. Yeah. I mean, that was so long ago.
That was 2011, I think.
I mean...
Yeah. Dota 2 has been their last game. And even then, they've been so slow with getting content out for that game.
Yeah, I mean, Dota 2 took how long to actually launch? And then... Yeah.
And now
Anyways.
Artifact, who knows? I mean, Artifact looks kind of neat though.
I think
because it's-
they'll officially confirm it at the international this year. I fully envision them being like, here's the international and here's Artifact. By the way, you can play Artifact right now. Like
International's taking place in Canada this year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think
more
because of
Seattle.
all the visa issues in America.
That makes sense. Oh shit, yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. It's happening in Canada, yeah. America. Yeah, America's real great at the time. Anyway,
Yeah.
we've gone way over time.
We have, and we thought we wouldn't fill out an hour and a half
Yeah, because we're like, oh man, we haven't played any games, you know.
yeah, but we like talking.
Yeah,
Clearly.
we like talking, and we like that you get to listen to us. By the way, I got a notification this morning that Anchor put us on a new podcast service called, hold on, I want to say Radio Shack, but it's definitely not Radio
Wait,
Shack.
it might be Radio Shack or okay, look it up because on the Kind of Funny podcast they also mentioned about being on a new platform this week.
Oh, for real? Let's see.
Or coming onto a new platform.
Anchor,
So yeah, but while Alessandro
your
looks
Anchor
it up,
podcast, the email just closed. Anchor podcast is now available on Radio Public.
okay.
That's what it's called.
I think that is exactly what they were on, but I
So,
don't know what the hell is Radio
If you know what Radio Public is, I have no idea.
it's public radio with the words swapped. Literally.
With podcasts.
With podcasts.
Yeah, we're on Radio Public, but as always, we are on Anchor FM. We're on Google Play, Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, not Spotify.
All of the
fuck them.
casts. And that's not a reply to emails?
Nope.
Damn you, Spotify.
And then RSS feed is
Which
on
goes-
Anchor FM, which you can then plug into whatever
Anyway.
app. I had a friend this week that was asking me a very good question. They were like, "Hey, a lot of these services like Pocket Casts and I think Overcast, you have to pay for."
You have to pay. Yeah.
And,
to actually buy the app.
Yeah, and he was like, "Does any of that money get to you? Because then I'll pay." And I
Oh,
was
no.
like, "No, actually,
it?
none of it comes to us." So.
What is this?
Even though we're supported on there, like if you use that app, cool, then we're on there. If you feel like you are contributing to these apps so you can contribute to us, stop doing that because none of the money is coming to us. And you can 100% grab RSS feed for free.
For free, yeah.
I don't give a shit how you listen to us. I'm just glad that you
Yeah.
get to listen to us.
And if you are listening on a platform that accepts reviews, then don't be
yeah,
scared
yeah.
to...
The only currency we work in is reviews.
Is reviews. We
Yes.
deal in reviews and Portuguese roles.
Yes.
So leave us a
leave a
review,
review.
leave us your comments, because then it's just nice and it helps us reach more people who might be interested in this content. So
especially on Apple Podcasts and Anchor, like give
Yeah.
applause or give a.
Man.
You don't even need to leave a review; just leave a rating.
yeah, I love that applause feature on Anchor.
It's really fun.
I just spam it.
It's
And it's like, yeah, please.
it's really fun. But yeah, if you're listening to this, then I'm glad you follow us. This has been a great episode again. Obviously, duh.
Well, duh. I mean, come on.
This will come out on Monday. So
professionals.
if you're stuck at work like Matty will be on Monday, hopefully it will get
Are you not
through your
working
day.
on Monday?
Nope.
You
Well,
monster.
I am. I'm doing varsity work, but I'm not at work.
Well, varsity work doesn't count.
But yeah, I hope everyone had a great long weekend. We hope you have a safe Tuesday public holiday. And
Yeah, if you're listening to this on Monday at work like I am, hey, tomorrow's a public holiday.
Hey, it's
Short
Friday
week.
again.
Oh, no, it's fake Friday.
and we'll see you next Monday on Checkpoint Chat. Bye, Maddie.
Yeah. Goodbye.
XOXO.
How are you getting home? Oh, wait, you are home.
Fuck.
Where's your car? Does it matter? No.